Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Stand by for your breaking news, everyone. The Nigerian police force has asked that the Nigerian organized labor should shelve the industrial action and comply with legal procedures. This is coming from a statement released today by the Force Police PRO, Mr. Olumiwa Adejobi. In that statement, Olumiwa Adejobi titled that press statement saying, a proposed strike action, the Nigerian police force urges organized labor to shelve strike and comply with legal procedures to prevent breakdown of law and order. And they say that while they acknowledge the recent announcement of the organized labor regarding the intention to embark on a nationwide strike action and understanding the right of organized labor to engage in such actions to advocate for the interests of all workers, we should emphasize the importance of adherence to the existing laws governing such activities and calls for caution to prevent breakdown of law and order. And in light of the federal government's recent declaration that the planned strike is illegal and premature, the Nigerian police force views this action as a potential catalyst for increased tension and political instability. The Nigerian police force is hereby urging organized labor to proceed with the ongoing deliberations at the Tripartite Committee, which is focused on determining a new minimum wage, and shelve the planned strike, as such decision is essential to prevent untold hardships on members of the public and maintain order and stability within our country. The last paragraph of that statement reads, the Nigerian police force assures the public that ample deployments have been made across the country to ensure that citizens can go about their lawful duties without hindrance. Therefore, all members of the public are encouraged to remain calm and continue with their lawful daily activities, while organized labor is all to act reasonably and in accordance with the law, prioritizing dialogue and legal avenues to resolving the existing grievances. Your breaking news this hour. The Nigerian police force has asked the labor to shelve strike and comply with legal procedure. This is a new dimension into the situation at the moment. We'll be bringing you more, of course, on these emerging scenario in our country. Earlier on, I've introduced my guest tonight on the program. She's the Minister of Labor, Honorable Nkiruka Onyejocha. Thank you so much indeed, Honorable Minister, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It must have been a long day for you, I know. Had the negotiation over the night, during the day. But let me allow you to make a comment on what the police have said today. You understand what the federal government stands, and you and your colleague in the Ministry of Information had said that that's the position of the federal government, that this action is really not complying with the set rules, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the truth, because we are negotiating, and we didn't come to conclusion, and labor worked out. That's not in the spirit of social dialogue. And the truth of the matter is that we believe that we've entered negotiations, and every party, all the parties should be patient to make sure that we conclude the negotiations. And so that's it.
Let me look at what the police is saying today. If the police is saying that labor should shelve this action, it does mean that naturally that strike should not continue tomorrow. Is that what the thinking of the federal government is like?
That's what thinking of everybody is, apart from the labor. Yeah, and I believe that having experienced what took place today, the national grid was affected, and of course people are still stranded in our airports today, and you know what it is. People already suffered a lot of setback and hardship because of the strike that took place from this morning. And so naturally, it's brought hardship to the citizens of this country. And so the natural thing to do is for labor to resign the decision and come back to negotiating table, because like I always say, strike is the last option. It shouldn't be, because we shouldn't have strike at all, because we know what the issues are, and we are available for discussions and negotiations, and we believe that there is nothing that can be resolved. But going to strike is to take the matter to the extreme, which is, of course, having a lot of negative implications, both to our economy and to the welfare of the citizens that we are trying, or they say they are trying to protect.
As a federal government, Honorable Minister, give me the assessment, because I know the federal government must have gone around town to make some kind of detailed report of the implications of this strike. Is day one. What is the assessment of the federal government on the implication of this strike, which is beginning today?
Implication number one is that citizens will suffer, and they've started suffering. Like people who, for instance, even our students or our children who are supposed to be taking exams today, I know that it affected some of them, because if you come out in the morning and you didn't find transport to go to your exam center, then you're not going to take their exams. So what it simply means is that most students are going to miss one academic year, which is bad. That's on one point. And then on the other side, there are people who can't eat until they go to workplaces like Secretariat. Those people are not going to eat because they live daily on what they can get from civil servants and from offices and all that. And that's on another side. And then on production side, you know that when economy is shut down, when activities are shut down, it's going to affect everything that makes an economy to thrive. So businesses will definitely be affected, and that's on the social side. But also, a lot of people, including banks, so economic activities are affected, social life affected, everything is just down. And you see what it is like, people who wants to travel, even hospital, even health sector. There are people who are scheduled to be operated today, and because there's no light, the doctors cannot access their workplaces, so it's possible that somebody may have died.
Minister, I mean, the labor leaders will say, oh, the federal government is for one. They gave a warning that they will go on strike, and they told you what they wanted. Didn't you see this coming?
How will I see it coming when I'm sure that we are negotiating, and because you know that it's tripartite? Federal government cannot impose salaries for local government and, of course, the governors. Organized private sector are involved, and they have the ability of, or the level of what they can pay. And if they say they can't pay a certain amount, is the federal government going to force them?
The three chairs in this negotiation, the tripartite, the three legs, the federal government, labor, and the states. Am I right?
The organized private sector, then federal government, state, and local government are the government side.
Okay.
Then organized labor. That's the three.
So, but bring us up to speed. First and foremost, on one hand, I understand there is a meeting going on at the office of this SGF.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, are the labor leaders part of that meeting?
Of course.
So what is the body language of the labor leaders looking like? Is it looking like they're going to call the strike off, or what are you telling them today?
What I'm telling them is that, of course, they've seen the implication. Religious leaders are calling them, the Sultan has called them, Christian Association of Nigeria, President has called them, and we have been calling them because we know the implication is just negative. There's no plus on it. And we are asking that they come back to negotiating table. So as we speak, the meeting is ongoing, and then telling them, of course, what I'm saying now, that these things doesn't look good for a country that is recovering. It doesn't look for a country that the president has decided that he's taken this job and he wants to make a lot of changes, and he has started making those changes.
Well, on the other hand, you need to let us know what this meeting at the SGF office is all about. Who are those there, and what is the agenda of that meeting? Because we thought that meeting was going to happen tomorrow. There have been reports that there will be an emergency talks between the federal government and Labour. Is that the emergency meeting or the one for tomorrow?
No, the one for tomorrow is we believe that they will come back to negotiating table.
That's for tomorrow.
That's for tomorrow. That's the tripartite meeting. Because why are we waiting? We need to conclude. So the chairman put up the notice for tomorrow's meeting.
Who is the chair?
Alhaji Goni, former head of service to the Federation. And then the secretary is the chairman of salaries and wages.
So, and you are the conciliator as a Minister of Labour?
Yes.
Yeah. So, in that sense, give us an understanding of tonight's meeting. What is it about?
Tonight's meeting is an ongoing meeting. Like, of course, you know that the Senate President, of course, National Assembly leadership called the Labour, organized Labour yesterday, which we attended. It's an ongoing conversation. We don't just say, okay, because they didn't agree today, so we're not going to call them tomorrow. It's to show government commitment that we are saying that they should come back to negotiating table, that we need to conclude ASAP, because we don't want anything to put a halt in the wheel of progress and, of course, the renewed hope agenda of the president.
But what makes the figure that Labour, because the disagreement is in what the figure, because at some point we're talking about 40,000, they rejected, at some time 48,000, and one would be asking, what makes the figure Labour is asking too difficult for the federal government to come to terms with?
I just said it now because you have organized private sector who have their own business. They have to check what they can be able to pay. You understand? So they have their business. Is the business thriving? Are they going to be able to pay? Or is it a matter of just accepting to pay? At the end of the day, the people don't pay. Which one is better? Accept what you'll be able to pay. And of course, this salary issue, you have to also match it with productivity. If I'm not producing, if I don't have a market, or if I'm not selling, how do you increase my salary for my workers? So they're able to determine based on what they have, what they can be able to pay. You know, because you have to have ability to pay and what is reasonable for you to pay. And remember, it's minimum wage, not maximum wage. That is, and this minimum wage is for both government and the private people.
For a level one, step one.
Including you, your driver. So are you able to pay 400 for your driver, for your domestic staff? So the salary, the minimum wage is for both the private and the public and the government.
Okay, so in that...
And remember, the local government is also included. Governors, that is states, are also included. So these three people have to come to terms to, this is what we are getting as a government, and this is what we can pay. And remember, it's not just payment of salaries. If you pay like trillions to a certain grade of workers, what's left? A government is supposed to be doing other things. Infrastructure is inside. You have to take all the sectors. So the government duty is not just about paying salaries.
Because some labor leaders and some Nigerians will say, you look at the humongous amount that has been budgeted for the National Assembly of a handful of Nigerians. We're talking about a larger interest of the Nigerian public. That those who argue that it's not as if Nigeria doesn't have this money, the money must be appropriated effectively.
You know, when people talk about National Assembly, I laugh. National Assembly is an arm of government, and they are doing their own jobs. National Assembly is not minimum wage. We are talking about minimum wage. It is minimum wage, not maximum wage.
Minister,
it's not about your own salary.
Minister, there are those who argue that our lawmakers are the highest, some of the highest earning government workers across the globe. With the kind of money that goes into servicing an arm of government that has less than about 1,000 people.
But, Shehu, I can tell you for free that they have not been able to prove it. I was in Parliament for 16 years. all the arguments upon National Assembly wages and all that, none has been proven with facts.
That Nigerian lawmakers are earning.
Yes.
Yeah, they earn more than, in terms of allowances and salaries, they earn even more than a U.S. Congress member.
That will be another discussion for...
Yeah, because that's not your own, what's it called? But we've had this argument in the Senate,
remember, when that argument came up, the former Senate president had to call for a conference at International Conference Center, where the salaries of National Assembly was made public. Remember?
I remember.
Oh, so
there was a time that hashtag OpenAsk was the hint, and people were asking for the federal government, especially the National Assembly, to open up its budget for the first time in a long time. They published the budget of the National Assembly, which was shrouded in secrecy for several years. But that's not the conversation. I know you have National Assembly blood in you right now.
Eventually was opened up.
We're speaking to the issue of minimum wage, and you as a Minister of Labour, can you tell us, has the federal government come to a particular figure? Because in all of this, I'm very sure that the federal government must have had its own figure to its chest. The organized private sector would have had its own figure to its chest. The state government and all what have you, and the Nigerian Labour says they have over, about 460 naira or there, about 1,000 naira as their demand. But what is the federal government comfortable to pay? Have you come to terms with that?
Mr. Shehu, let me tell you something that is clear, and nobody should make mistake about it. It's tripartite. It's not about federal government.
But the federal government is part of the negotiation.
Yes, but the federal government should take into cognizance that it is tripartite committee that will also ensure that if Mr. A agrees to pay, he has to pay. Remember that when 10,000 minimum wage was agreed upon, there are certain states that couldn't pay. After that 30,000 naira minimum wage, some states couldn't pay as we speak. So it's not something that you decide for people. You have to look at their books. You have to look at their earnings. You have to look at what their exposures are before.
You know the reason why I'm asking, Minister?
The federal government does not have that power to impose.
You know the reason why I'm asking? Nigerian people want to know tonight whether is it the state government that are not comfortable with the figure or the federal government. On the side of the federal government, I'm very sure that you have your figure to your chest.
The point is, I have told you, and we have been making this very clear. The 494,000 naira is highly impossible.
So it's unlikely that can happen.
How? Where would they get the money from?
But is Labour sticking to that figure? Is that what they said?
They have not come up with any other figure.
But they came down from 600 and something.
There to 494.
Isn't that fair enough?
Fair enough. Then you're part of the people that will pay this money. Not just government, not just state, not just local government, not just organized private sector. Will you be able to pay your domestic staff, which on level 1 or 2, 494,000? If you can't, then we go to market and say, yes, people can. If Nigerians can pay it, let them speak out.
But what is the figure? Since there is a disagreement over the figures, what is the figure that you think that the federal government thinks is reasonable?
The figure will be determined by the federal government, the state government, the local government who was part of it as observer, even though we listen to them to hear what they're saying. Then the organized private sector, who employs many people as we speak, or who is employer of many Nigerians. Or if people push too much, what it will lead to, we do not want people to start losing jobs. Because if organized private sector can't pay and they start sacking people, which one is worse? Or if federal government or even state government can't pay, they will start retrenchment. And in this condition and in what is happening now, if you retrench people, remember that upon all the hardship and things that has happened, that government have not retrenched from public service. So do you think about it?
So, Minister, in all of this, there is more money coming into the pocket of the national of the national government, of the federal government, and there are those who believe that since the federal government is getting more money, the Nigerian worker, the Nigerian citizens must get money. Is there an arrangement? Is there a plan by the federal government for the Nigerian workers such that their lives can be better, aside this minimum wage matter that has become a major controversies between the labor and these umpires that have gone on? What other things do the federal government have for the Nigerian workers?
We have said this times with our number that federal government have taken into cognizance of the situation of things and the effect of
removal of subsidy.
Removal of subsidy. And they came up with 35,000 naira, 35,000 naira wage award for all treasury-paid federal government workers. And then 100 billion naira for the procurement of CNG fuel buses and CNG conversion kits, which will take off any moment from now because they gave us the deadline of June. And then 125 billion naira conditional grant and financial inclusion to MSMEs, then 25,000 naira each to be shared to 15 million households for 3 months, then 185 billion palliative loans to state to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal, which is what we are talking, and then 200 billion naira to support the cultivation of hectares of land to boost food production, 75 billion naira to strengthen the manufacturing sector, 1 trillion naira for student loans for higher education, and release of 42,000 metric tons of grains from strategic reserves, and including purchase and onward distribution of 60,000 metric tons of rice from the Rice Millers Association. And as we speak, recent salary increase of 25 to 35% on all consolidated salary structures for federal workers, 90% subsidy on health costs for federal civil servants registered on NHIS. And of course, last week, you see the light rail commissioned in Abuja to relieve transportation costs till the end of this year. Lagos also has already commenced some initiative with their blue and red lines.
So some of
these things are what can alleviate the effect of subsidy removal. So federal government had never, for once, folded their hands and say, we are talking about minimum wage. Let that minimum wage be what it is, and that's it. So federal government is working and been doing a lot of things on that renewed hope agenda of Mr. President.
So there are those who believe that, those who know, and Labour had argued that it is in fact not about the figure. It's also about the quality and the value of the naira. The same, if I may show you these particular figures on the national minimum wage and the value of the naira to the dollar, and you will discover that the dollar, the naira, is reducing in value, and the purchasing power of the average citizen is dwindling. So if you look at it, and these are some of the facts and some of the data coming from Statisens, and if you look at in 2015, 18,000 naira is about $91. In 2023, 30,000 naira is about $66. In 2024, 30,000 was at some point at the official rate is at $18, and at the parallel market it's $23. So you see that the value of the naira is really the issue, which is affecting the purchasing power. And there are those who will say, what is the minimum wage of Nigeria compared to other African countries, especially those countries that are producing oil? Take a look at some of them. Gabon has in naira compared to their currency. Gabon has 376,000 naira. Equatorial Guinea, 323,000 naira. Libya, 313 naira. Algeria, 226 naira. Tunisia, 199,000 naira. Egypt, 194,000. Ivory Coast, 188,000 naira. Chad Republic, 150,000 naira. Cameroon, 105,000 naira. DR Congo, 94,000. Angola, 58,000. Ghana, 38,000. Nigeria sits at the 13th position with 30,000 compared to other countries producing oil in the African country. And their currency converted to Nigerian naira, this is the figure of their minimum wage. And Sudan is the last with 7,590. And these are the issues that a lot of people will argue. If you compare these countries and Nigeria.
Let me tell you something. That is the reason why the president has charged every ministry, department, and agencies to work hard and to align with the renewed hope agenda. And you see, prior to this time, agencies that are supposed to be paying money into federation account, they were not. Dollars were not being paid into our accounts. You had that revelation a few weeks ago, or like when President took out of office. And now he's forced people to be paying and to be doing those things. And that's why we are saying that these things are temporal. That even when you say, okay, pay this social amount, and government decide to cough that kind of amount and pay, it will also push inflation more. Okay? So that is why everybody must be on the same page to support the president's agenda, which is renewed hope agenda, believing that with what we are doing in agriculture today, which you are aware, and what we are doing in science and tech, which you are aware, with digitalization, now we have a ministry for digital economy and all that, that when these things are put in place, that this inflection will be something of the past. We are not working as if we do not have tomorrow. We are not working as people who do not have hope. We are working as people who are working hard, who is believing that things will change and everything will return to normality. We're not going to end like this. We're not going to continue to be like this. That's why narratives are being changed. The president is determined, and ministers, directors, agencies are aligned to the renewed hope agenda of change.
Look, Minister, the agitation, I'm very sure that you have people around you who are feeling the pinch of this economic situation in the country. A lot of Nigerians out there, they are finding it difficult to eke a living.
It did not start today. What happened before election? It didn't start today.
But Minister, in the last 1 year, when this government came into power,
1 year is too small
but
to
things
change
something. Minister.
No, 1 year is too small to change things that had happened over 16 years. And you see, yes.
But look at the dramatic decline in the purchasing power of the citizen in the last 1 year.
And that's why we are working. We are not sleeping.
But it looks like your government had badly run the economy to this point. Much. Look at the value of the naira from 1 year ago, and now it has drastically reduced the purchasing power. So the question, Minister,
what is important is the willpower and political power to make the change, and that's what the president is doing.
The tangibles, Minister, that Nigerian citizens will, because a lot of the things that you reeled out, we've heard some of the plans, and you have said it again tonight, of what the press, CNG and all. There are a lot of Nigerians who will say, we have not seen them.
You have not seen them.
The welfare packages, they have not seen them. Are they tangible? Can the federal government put out videos of those who are receiving and collecting some of these things so Nigerians can really believe what the federal government... Are they there, Minister?
Of course.
They are really there out there?
Yes.
Who are those benefiting?
If you have told me to bring those who are benefiting on this your program, I would have brought them. Yes.
Let me ask you, Minister, how would you describe the federal government's relationship with Labour since the negotiations began? Because Labour has said it a couple of times, in fact, on this program, that the federal government is not serious with the negotiation. And they do not
How would they say that?
That's what I'm very sure that you must have heard.
The point is...
The two of them, the two leaders have said it on this program.
Anybody can say anything. That's maybe what... You have to say something to sell your market. You have to say something to sell your opinion. You must say something. How? They walked out 3 times. If we are not serious, are we the people walking out? So how are we not serious?
Did you annoy them to work for them to?
How will I annoy? Am I annoying?
No, I'm saying that when I say you, I'm saying on the government side.
No,
what got them so upset that they had to walk out?
No, the truth of the matter is this: there's no need to annoy anybody. Why will you annoy them with discussions?
So what caused them to walk out? If they walked out 3 times,
that is to show you that they are serious, and then we are not serious.
How do you prove to Nigerians that you're serious about this negotiation?
How?
If the Labour is accusing the federal government of not being serious.
So because they accuse us of not being serious, does it mean we are not serious? So if you are not serious, since they called on strike, have we slept? When they walked out the last time, that was supposed to conclude. We fixed a meeting for Monday. And they said, okay, Monday is not convenient. And then we brought it back backward to Friday. You see, the thing is, it's good to be truthful, and it's good to say the truth the way it is, no matter whether you're right or wrong. And one person that will not come here and be telling you lies, because I won't get anything from it. Federal government is very serious, and we want to conclude the negotiations and have a minimum wage that is payable by all the parties. But I believe that Nigeria will be happy when we finish, because I have not seen anywhere that the federal government is sleeping on its duties. We should be patriotic at this time. A lot of things has gone wrong, and we came at a time that things are really bad now. And we are not complaining, we are not like shifting the blame to anybody. But these things happens, and when it happens, the most important thing is for you to work hard and pray to God and make sure that you walk around the clock and make sure that you do the necessary things that will change the narratives. And that's what we are doing.
We want good news, Minister. You are on this program, and millions of people are watching tonight. And beyond what we are not privy to that goes on in that room, and bringing you on this program tonight, on a day like this, there are a lot of people are frustrated. People are angry because of airport flight disruptions. People don't have electricity in there. I'm very sure most of the people who are watching on their mobile find it difficult to charge their phones today. Those who are watching are probably watching tonight on their television, using their generators and all of that. What good news can you tell Nigerians tonight that they should be open for within the next few hours? Can you give us any good news?
The good news is that we are working very hard, and we are speaking to organized labor. And I know by God's grace, they will see reason why strike is not part of the discussion that we'll be talking about now, because we need recovery time quickly so that Nigerians will smile.
What will you be telling the Nigerian labor today? Because they are at the forefront.
I've said it times with that number, that labor, they are Nigerians like me and you. There is nothing that federal government is hiding from them. The books are open, and we have not closed negotiations. We want them to come back to the table and conclude the negotiations so that Nigerian workers will know where they are. And besides, the 35,000 naira wage award is continuing. The federal government will continue to pay it until the minimum wage is settled. And of course, the minimum wage, if it's settled today, we are going to start take it back from when the old one ended, which is April 18th. So they won't lose anything.
By execution of time and by force of law, 30,000 minimum wage came to an end in April this year, isn't it?
Yes.
But, I mean, I've had this conversation within all of this negotiation that, in fact, it shouldn't be as long as that before the review comes. Is the federal government thinking of tweaking the law such that the review of the minimum wage will be lesser within the time span or the duration for its review?
The truth of the matter is that what has happened has happened. We are here now, and the federal government has promised that Nigerian workers are not going to lose anything that is due them due to delay, which is not deliberate.
No, I'm even saying, because you were a member of the National Assembly, and the arguments about how long it took to review because of the change and the dynamic nature of the economy. It shouldn't take that long, 4 or 5 years before you review the minimum wage. Is the federal government also thinking that maybe
we are thinking
on a yearly basis you will review?
No, that has to do with law. So it's a discussion that will go to Parliament, and then they will decide based on the concerns being raised that 5 years is too long to review minimum wage based on fluctuations and on economy and all that. So it's a conversation that is on the table.
Are you frustrated, Minister, in some ways because the Nigerian citizen is suffering in silence, and you are in charge of employment? Some employers of labor find it difficult to employ, and you come at a very difficult time as this, and labor, it comes also in a year that the review of the minimum wage has to come. What lesson do you think you probably have learned? You've spent a lot of time in the National Assembly, but this is a different kettle of fish altogether. But for you as a person, what do you think has come out to you in all of this?
What has come out to me in all of this is that God cannot give you something that you can't handle. God will give me the grace to handle it. And I've done a lot in labor ministry. I've reviewed all the operations, and we're bringing a lot of things to the table. We pre-launch a LEAP program where all the processes in labor will be digitalized, where we have to work on all our assets, like NDE, National Directorate of Employment, has 36 state offices and 6 zonal offices. But if you look at them now, we can't even bring people, the kind of people we want to bring to do work there and then train our youth and all that. So we are going to renovate and put them in place to meet the purpose. And we are going to train people, like the LEAP program is targeting like 2.5 million jobs in a year. But now what we call it is wealth creation, because when you talk about job, people think, oh, you're talking about federal government jobs. Because yes, jobs will be created, but we need to create those kind of jobs that will put food on people's table and that will be self-sustaining. And very soon we are going to relaunch NELEX, which is a platform to publish all vacancies, and our teeming youths who are unemployed will then post their CV. Then we'll be able to match them with employers that need them. And we are partnering with the Ministry of Education to look at the curriculum to make sure that the people that are graduating to jobs that are needed. And so that's what it is. I believe that things will change for better, and the Labour Ministry will not just be a conciliatory ministry where you talk about industrial strike and all that. It's a ministry that's supposed to reduce poverty and then create jobs. And we are partnering with some people who are going to create remote jobs. That's why it's very important that we put our offices across the states. And we want to partner with 774 local government areas to make sure that the NELEX platform is situated in all the local government, so that you don't need to come to Abuja for NELEX processes. You can do it from your own local government and all that. So that's what we have on the table, and I'm sure that by God's grace.
All right, I asked you a question earlier when I asked you to, as a federal government, to assess what is the implication. I know that in this kind of shutdown, there will definitely be some kind of losses that has been incurred in the economic environment and lack of productivity on a day like this. What is the estimation of the federal government as a loss on a day as this? Has the federal government been able to put together, in terms of figure, how much we're losing?
I wouldn't know the figure, but I know that we've lost a lot. It's very huge. If you know what I mean, it's very huge. It's very huge.
But Minister, when the Labour came out and warned that they gave ultimatum that they will go on strike, it's a warning, and they said they told you. They wrote to you.
They told me, and I told them that, and I replied that we must continue to engage and dialogue. That strike should not be on the table. It shouldn't be. It's not that we don't understand what you're saying, We are not deaf. It's not that we're not seeing what you're saying. We are in the same boat. We are Nigerians.
I think that the negotiation is taking too long.
It's taking too long, but if it's taking too long, and even if we are doing negotiation and you don't like anything, like sometimes we take 30 minutes and come back. But working out will not help the issue. It doesn't reduce the time. It extends the time.
Is this government sensitive to the plight of Nigerians at all?
Do I look like somebody that is not sensitive?
I'm talking about the Tinubu government.
Tinubu is more sensitive than you. Really? And he understands, yes.
Well, he's the president. He asked for the job. I'm just a journalist.
And I'm telling you, knowing his track record, knowing who he is and what he was used to and how he reacts and how he empowers people. That's why if you check the 8 to 9 point agenda, 6 is on welfare of people, job creation, reduction of poverty.
Honorable Minister, I wish you the very best. Not the best time to be a Minister of Labour, especially in this tough period, but I wish you the very best for the interest of our country.
But somebody has to do the job.
Yeah, that's why I'm wishing you the very best. You need all the luck to get this done. Thank you. Honorable Nkiruka Onyejocha, the Minister of Labour, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me. God bless you.
But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. God bless Nigeria.